Hello, everyone. It is my great honor to welcome you all to the first session of Voot Presents Play with Big Boss OTT reached millions of eyeballs. Over the years, reality shows or the non-fiction genre has worked really well on the silver screen, be it a game show, 3 month long house log, or performing life threatening stunts. People simply love to watch these shows as they're curious to see how their favorite participant will perform under pressure. Big Boss is one such show that has been successfully running for the last 14 seasons and has been able to enthrall the audiences every night during its 3 month run. It cuts across audiences from multiple age groups, demographics, interests, and has gained pan India popularity. Big Boss also has emerged as one of the most popular marketing platforms in the country that helps brands reach a wider audience. Also, over the years, brands have realized that they can find a large number of eyeballs on the reality shows and hence find them as a perfect platform to associate with them. Many brands in the past have gained big with this association. Today, I have the privilege of hosting Mr. Ramalingam Subramaniam, Head of Marketing from CoinDCX, India's largest and safest cryptocurrency exchange where you can buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies with ease. CoinDCX has forged an association with the reality genre and has been able to derive strong results from it. So now, let us hear from Mr. Ramalingam on how associating with this genre worked for the brand. Welcome, Mr. Ramalingam, to the show.
Thank you so much, Devesh. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's begin, Ram. What's your thought, and how do you see the reality genre evolving over the years in India?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting content format. Okay, I look at it from that angle.
Okay.
A format that keeps people engaged. Quality of content, or what you look in a piece of content is you want to have something that interests you, something that surprises you, and there is a little bit of uh, predictability that lies with the audience. So the audience gets involved and says, okay, this might happen or that might happen, right? So that comes up with as a fabulous piece of content. And reality TV shows or reality TV per se is giving us that opportunity.
All right.
What has happened or evolved over the years, although there has been a good amount of criticism as well that certain programs have encountered, right? But the point for it's not an acquired taste. It's beyond that right now, where people are able to, in certain cases, live the dream that they felt through these people. The other thing is it's an exciting genre. Every day there's a new story that comes in, right? And it keeps people engaged. And purely from a marketing standpoint, I am getting a highly engaged audience. I am getting a very strong PG focus, and I am getting interesting content pegs because most of the reality shows give me that kind of an opportunity for integrations.
Right.
So yeah, it's an amazing property to be associated with.
I liked your thought, where you said that, it keeps the audience engaged because one of the factors is predictability. It's either that the guy will win or the guy will lose, but he will perform and the performance will be like very engaging. So that keeps the audiences, on the edge.
Right.
That's very right. So Big Boss, it is one of the longest running fiction shows in the country. And, it runs for 3 months and provides non-stop entertainment to the audiences. And, one can't deny the kind of buzz that it creates. So, in your opinion, how do you see the format of the show, in terms of its uniqueness, as well as the integration opportunities that it creates for the brands?
So uniqueness, yes, because it's a long show. Okay, it's a huge. There is a huge need for people to have an engaged audience. It's a tough show. It's a tough format, right? To keep people hooked on for such a long period. Few other parallels are there, but the idea or the concept that I am being able to live my life through a group of people, and I can see the problems that I face in my life being enacted or run in front of me, and I'm also seeing how people are reacting to such situations. Okay, so there is this entire concept genre called sitcom, right? It's a situational comedy, right? This is I don't. It's not comedy, but it is a situational story, right? It happens because of certain things. Yes, there is some form. It's, as you pointed out, it's a fictional piece, but it gives me, or what I can see, right? What I can say that for the audience, it gives them a perspective into their own lives, right? For marketeers, it ticks major boxes, right? It ticks engaged audience, right? For a show to be running for such a long time, and so when I say time, for the show in itself, and for such so many number of years, and it has been able to, uh, if not grow, but at least maintain the same level of engagement. And perhaps the numbers are way different. I think they have actually grown further and further. So it ticks that box where I get an engaged audience where I can communicate. It also gives me so right now it also gives me a good engaged audience into the number of session time, right? The amount of time someone is spending watching a particular program, right? And it's a very casual viewing kind of a piece, right? It's I don't like, for example, versus say a competition, right? Where I have to be very much involved in it. This is more from a casual perspective, which still runs long. So that's one interesting part of the format. Um, and as I said earlier, right, for a marketeer, I see an engaged audience. I see a good way to communicate. I also see a huge spread that is possible across age groups, across languages, and that's the interesting part. So generally, you find properties which have either huge reach or huge engagement. Here there is a fine balance that is being maintained. So that's an interesting part.
What were the other non-fiction properties, that you were probably considering? And in even top of that, I mean, what all tick boxes, what all boxes does Big Boss check for you?
For us as a business, and it more comes from us as a brand, right? What we want to achieve, awareness, we want to achieve normalization of the asset class, right? Today, crypto, Bitcoin seems for people is something that is done by experts or something that is done by a few set of people. We wanted to normalize that, right?
Correct.
We wanted to ensure that it's just another asset class. As you invest in gold, as you invest in stocks, as you invest in mutual funds, you can also invest here. There is no great rocket science behind this. Okay. And that as a product company, that's our job, to hide all the complexities and bring it out in a simple format. So for us, engaging with Big Boss, the focus was that we are able to normalize the asset to a large audience which is engaged, right? The second piece, because I focus a lot on the engagement piece, we are able to run, if I'm not wrong, we did a branded segment, okay, where I was able to communicate for I think 4 or 5 minutes about crypto, about Bitcoin, about the brand, right? Now, and this is 4 or 5 minutes of pure engaged audience, right? It's not that it's an ad that someone sees or does not see. It's part of this section, and we are able to communicate that message to a huge set of people. And I saw a lot of good reviews that came on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, praising not just the marketing efforts, but the community at large, which has been so much vocal behind crypto and Bitcoin. They were so thrilled to see that we are able to communicate at such large scale, right? And for such a long time. It's not a few 10-second ad that you run in a space, a sporting event, right? So there's a big difference that we were seeing, and that's how we have been able to build that. And those, as I said, right, those two boxes for me, one is the wide reach and the engaged audience. The product of that is the I feel the most successful part when it comes to Big Boss.
So you've spoken about the engagement bit. I also saw that that you are running a live quiz on Voot.
Yeah,
Hazaro jeetenge, karodon ke naam. I hope I put it right.
yeah,
For this entire season where the winner will be taking home a Bitcoin. So now I am assuming 4 to 5 minutes of branded content that you mentioned with a highly engaged audience, and plus this season long show. So what is the kind of engagement that you are seeing, and what is the kind of engagement that you are expecting by the end of the season, overall, when I mix the two?
that was a very good idea that came out, and I would have to give it to the team, right? Our team as well as the team at Voot, who actually co-created such concepts. I'll go back on the background of it, why we want to do it, right? Um, while we focus on education and awareness, the true success of that is some form of an exam or a test, right? That's a schooling system that we also follow. So a quiz definitely makes a lot of sense, and to link it with the engaged audience that is there, so that we are able to create the right kind of understanding, right? It's not just me telling that crypto is simple, crypto is safe, this and that. How much people have also accepted it, right? And that was the whole idea. The other aspect of it was today, right? I have understood crypto. I have understood Bitcoin. I want to go ahead and make an investment. People are also a bit circumspect in terms of trying things out, right? And our parent campaign or mother campaign is all about try crypto. Why don't you give it a try? And one way for us to do sampling is through this quiz, right? Where I am distributing rewards, right? But the whole idea is people are getting some sample investment that they can actually test. They can see how they manage their portfolio with the award that they win, right? And it is very much linked to that, and because of which people are able to now create portfolios, understand, okay, this is like any other market. And as a category creator, or as someone who is today, we carry that burden of leadership, where we have to build the category, right? Not just us, but a few other colleagues of ours also in the industry, but we are the few players who have to build that category, and hence we move ahead with this. And obviously, it has to go in with the story of the program and the show, and make it more exciting and fun. So, quiz to build that kind of awareness, education, the rewards from a idea of sampling, and yes, there's a bumper prize at the end of it to keep the engagement going. So, yeah, it is a well thought of idea. We are seeing good traction there. I would mark it as a success if there are more people who go ahead and take informed decisions. So I generally tell this to my team also, right? If someone comes and tells me that they don't want to invest in crypto and Bitcoin for reasons like, okay, this is maybe I don't have that kind of investment appetite, or I'm a bit risk averse, I'm comfortable with that, because that's an informed decision, rather than someone saying mujhe kuch nahi pata and I don't want to do it, right? So that's the goal, and that's where I am looking at it as a success. And I'm confident. I wouldn't have the exact numbers handy right now, but we have been doing very well with this, and hopefully by the end of this entire piece, we would have created a good amount of education out there, where people will be then taking decisions from a informed position, because at the end of the day, it's a very simple concept for us: educate and then acquire. So
Absolutely.
that's the whole idea.
No, you very rightly mentioned that you and some other players in the industry at present are the baton holders. So it's like I would say that crypto is the future, expected future of how the trading would be done, but it has to be built, and some very responsible people are working towards it. Now that's very interesting. While you mentioned about the engagement part, so what is the kind of audiences that are engaging with the quiz, the CoinDCX quiz, and what's the kind of profile of this audience that you're seeing?
So it largely goes with the kind of people who are also there on Voot, right? It's an audience that is so it's a new age asset class for a new age kind of a person, right? Today, And it's not just us, like we have seen during the pandemic itself, right? There is a surge in people who are interested in investing in stocks, for example, right? People who are diversifying their assets. Okay. So I am seeing two types of audiences: people who are looking at options like what really do we have in terms of investment options today, right? I either go into real estate, which hasn't been doing well because of the pandemic. I go into stuff like fixed deposit or government bonds, which are not giving me high yield, or I go to stocks or figure something out, right? So at a retailer or at an HNI, at an institution level, everyone is trying to figure out where should I invest next. And crypto comes at the right time. Okay. So the audiences are of twofold, right? One who understand the investment patterns, who are self-aware around personal wealth creation. So we get a lot of people around that, but we also get a lot of new audiences who are there for fun, right? I have to also give it to that, right? They are enjoying themselves, but that's how schooling also worked, right? We had two types of students. One who would be the person who will sit in the class and study, but there was also another person who will go around, do all the mischief, but they'll also learn. And I am a firm believer that sports, playing around, doing mischief is a very important aspect of education, right? By doing all that fun part, right? People, so I have students from graduation and post graduation who have some amount of capital, and they are playing with that money. Okay. And they're trying to figure out, how do I make X, how do I make it 2X and 3X.
Correct.
Now many of them will also at the end of the day make wrong investments. Okay. But that's the kind of education that you won't get in any university.
Correct.
And so many of us, okay, have done something or the other during that nascent period of our life, where we have learned so much. We might have lost a lot of financial capital, but huge wealth that we would have earned. So I'm seeing that kind of an audience also, which is willing to experiment, which is willing to learn. From a tier perspective, I'm getting from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? The reason for tier 2 and tier 3, okay? So many times people question, right? Tier 2, tier 3, entering it, are they doing it with proper understanding and knowledge, right?
Correct.
Or are they getting into it from is it the FOMO part kicking in, right? What I have seen, right, is these people are investing with a very good understanding of the asset class. So we have internal benchmarks, people investing more than three into three or more assets, crypto assets, right? We start seeing them diversifying, understanding how the markets work and build wealth. I'm seeing from tier 2, tier 3 audiences, a lot of people now diversifying in more than three assets. So it's not that one asset. They would have heard someone like Bitcoin, so now I'll just put money all there and try to get a quick return. Or someone told me this particular coin and I put. But I am seeing people investing and diversifying. Now that's a very good strategy that people are applying. Our analytics are saying that a good portion of these audiences are diversifying. The other part where I feel is the not just us but across the industry, lot of effort has gone in vernacular content,
Right.
right? So we have done, even today we do press releases in multiple languages. We have educational content in multiple languages. We have influencers who are like very localized. So I know of a group of so a particular influencer in Odia who has like around 10,000 followers but highly engaged, and he creates content around crypto. Okay. Same way in Telugu, I have seen in Maithili someone doing it, right? Like not one of the top languages, right? Someone doing it Maithili. Now that's the kind of awareness that people have. Okay. I'm pretty sure there's a huge lot to be done. But the one of the reasons driving adoption through the tier 2, tier 3 cities is because the accessibility is much simpler. Accessibility to education, accessibility to invest in these assets, and the ticket sizes are so small for someone to experiment. Like you can start with 100 rupees, you can invest only 10 in Bitcoin, right? So all these options are there, and people are able to build that kind of a portfolio. And that's where what I'm seeing from an audience perspective. Your traditional investors who are diversifying, the young audiences who are playing things around but learning a lot, and then the tier 2, tier 3 markets who have suddenly seen a good option available from an accessibility point of view.
Wow. I mean, I am, what would one say? I mean, like, when he hears about, tier two and tier three markets, actually investing into cryptocurrencies, this is like, the next paradigm shift for digital inclusion and, the entire digital economy, our prime minister and everyone is actually focusing on. This is like, really, really wonderful. And it's also about, investing into the new age products, you know, that's really good. Also, taking the cue on the new age part. So this is the first time, Big Boss, for the first time premiered on OTT. The new age platforms, which which we are seeing, and which is there's so much of buzz about. Traditionally it has always premiered on television first, and then gone on to either YouTube or the apps. But this time it was on the OTT first. Okay, so how do you see it? While you are choosing to partner with Big Boss, how did you see this? Move from the point of evolving consumption habits of Indian audiences and the widening reach of OTT platforms. I mean, like I want to understand what were the thoughts in the minds of your team. That you say that no, yeah, let's go with Big Boss. They're premiering on the OTT. Let's try our hands with this.
So there are a lot of benefits to OTT. Yes, OTT consumption has grown leaps and bounds. Okay. I was on another panel a while back. I think ET was only doing something on OTT, iStream or something like that. I don't remember. But I was part of that iStream Express, right? I was part of that conversation. See, OTT is again a new age sector, right? Where OTT, where we are, right? OTT was there a couple of years back. Okay, people were still discovering. They were trying to understand. It was difficult for people to assume that people will move out of traditional TV to an OTT platform. People will be able to consume content on mobile phones, small screens, right? How much can I create? What kind of an impact can I make on smaller screens, and so on and so forth? There are these brand guidelines that say I won't come on below this size and this size and that size.
Absolutely.
Right? All these, and definitely you would be aware of things like that. There are there, right?
Yeah.
I only want to be on TV. I don't want to do stuff. Things change, right? People understand what's the benefit is. One, there is a consumption pattern where I can see people consuming a lot on OTT. The benefit I feel as also a consumer of OTT, on demand, right? VOD. I get it on demand, right? Because we all live busy lives, and the pandemic has just made it much more busy. We are on calls almost every time, right? And we get it's no more the 9 to 5 jobs, right? It's so I read a post of one of my other colleagues in a different industry where he mentioned that he does work from 7 to 12, then takes a 2 or 3 hour break, and then again starts working, right? So world has changed. People are figuring newer ways to deliver, and that's the benefit. So prime time is no more a prime time. Every time can become a prime time. So there are these things that are possible that an OTT platform makes, and we understand this because a lot of my audience is like me, right? A lot of my target audience is a consumer like me who does stuff on an OTT, who takes one of our cab aggregators, who books movie tickets from one of these places, who orders on a Swiggy or a Zomato, right? So for us, the audience match was very good, right? There is a fear that comes whenever we talk about such massive scale projects like Big Boss, right? Is there a wastage, right? Is there an audience segment that I'm reaching out to, that Big Boss reaches out to, which perhaps may never be my customer, right? Is there a piece that is possible? Now, with OTT, that is something that I'm able to control as a marketeer. Okay, that's the benefit I felt we were getting, and the team were very clear on that front. And second piece is these kind of properties that we can do in terms of in-app
Mhm.
exercise, right? On the OTT platform, I can create such quiz competitions, right?
Correct.
While you consume content, you also can participate somewhere,
Correct. Correct.
right? The kind of engagement that is possible, the kind of direct conversions that is possible for a marketeer, for a business, I feel that is an advantage that you are getting. I agree that the reach is not as much as television. Right? Television still is huge, and it can't be ignored, right? But the whole idea is there are over the last couple of years, marketeers are moving to the whole concept of segment of one. Right?
Yeah.
How do I target that one person with a one particular customized comp?
Correct.
Now, OTTs are allowing me to do that, whereas TV still is a very large broadcast medium. It has its purpose. When I want to do a spray and I want to spread and I flood the information, there is a point. But if I want to utilize and do very targeted campaigns, again, I have a medium available. So that's something that I feel is very beneficial. And when the team was working, trying to create like create this kind of an engagement with the folks at Voot, we had these thoughts in mind, right? And that's where the whole idea of what kind of pieces can work, what can give me direct impact, what can it give me a space for my brand. All these things were taken into consideration.
It brings me to a question. Have you previously ever experimented with the non-fiction genre, the reality TV shows, or was it the first time that joined hand with this genre?
Reality TV. Reality TV, no, not before this.
Mhm.
I don't think a lot of reality television was happening this year, even before this, right? Maybe some amount of things, or probably this is the time when things start, right?
Yeah.
Quizzes and singing competition, dance competition, everything is, I think this is the season when it all starts. There was something in the past as well that had happened. But no, not at Coin T6. I might have done in my past experiences. I've done stuff with programs like including like sporting as a segment itself. We have done a lot. Like
Okay.
Coin D6, at Coin D6 itself, we have done a lot of stuff with sports.
Okay.
But yeah, this was the first. If I'm not wrong, this is the first. We did with fiction. Yeah, sorry, we did something with Voot earlier also. It was fiction.
Okay. Personally, are you a Big Boss fan? Do you watch Big Boss?
I used to.
Okay.
So I know what the whole idea is. I used to.
Okay.
Um, I used to watch it for a while,
Okay.
but the challenge again because it was not so much on OTT.
Okay.
It was difficult to with the schedules that we have. It was difficult to continuously go ahead. But we do see some of these things on that infinite scroll that happens on
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
Facebook and stuff, right? So yeah, through that I do consume content from Big Boss, but not a engaged audience yet.
Okay. Okay. So and what if Voot offers you a wild card chance, to be a participant for this season, you know. And so, do you think you'll be able to sail through and you'll be able to, win the title? And
If you
you'll have
ask,
to talk about your strategy also. Okay.
if you ask my wife about this, right? So she will definitely say this that I'll probably go and win
Oh
because
wow.
she calls me. I don't know whether I should say this, but she calls me a sarcastic manipulator.
Okay.
So so basis that she'll be like, okay, I think you would have a chance where you'll be able to talk poker faced. But whether I'll be able to win or go do any kind of justice,
Correct.
honestly, if you ask me, my wife kids a lot, but honestly, if you ask me, I'm literally the Ram kind of a guy, very straightforward, a simpleton. So maybe I may be the worst person to be picked for the Big Boss house. But yeah, like I would if given a choice, I would politely decline.
Okay. And as you're leading the marketing for Coin DCX, which is one of the patent holders in the cryptocurrency game in India. So,
Yeah.
how do you see this category growing, and how do you see the future? You already mentioned the kind of audiences that are coming and experimenting with cryptocurrencies. The three cohorts that you mentioned. But
Sure.
overall, if I have to see the future of the cryptocurrency in India, how do you see that?
So, two ways to answer that. Right? One is the growth of personal finance, right, or understanding of wealth management at a personal or at an individual level.
Hmm.
As the concept grows more and more, right? So, someone asked me a few days back, right, that a lot of women investors are moving into crypto, which is true and which
Okay.
is right, which is very encouraging. But we fail to recognize that there are a lot of women who have started earning now, right? There is a lot of, and it's a good number of people. I'm not saying now per se, but now it's not a question anymore that there are women employees, right? It's expected, it is obvious, and so on. And
Correct. Correct.
so at one point in time when it was men who were just the earning members of the family, the investment ideas were also male dominated.
Correct.
Right? Although uh, the biggest investor in the house has always been a lady, right? Mother of the house is the person who, basically the finance minister has always been that person, right?
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
so now when women have become more and more independent, they have also started investing. They have also started doing. So the whole idea, the growth of the personal wealth management as a category, right? That will definitely increase the growth rate of cryptos. The other piece that I feel over the next couple of years, see, we are less than 1% of India today in
Hmm.
terms of total user base. And I'm talking about the entire category, or probably 1% now. There's a huge scope out there. There's a huge, there's a very young audience that is ready to experiment, ready to figure out newer investment potentials. And as a nation also, as we decide to move towards opening up the economy more, chasing larger targets as an economy, like when we say $5 trillion, economic support, financial support would be a big need. And when that happens, eh, basically RBI would keep or the MPC part of RBI will keep the repo rates, reverse repo rates low, which means your standard so-called safe investment assets will not be that high yielding. So you will have to invest more and more. That's another, from a policy perspective. Government is also asking people to invest in growing businesses, increase more liquidity available out there. Once these things start happening, crypto as an asset class will also start growing. It will also be linked to the number of projects that use crypto. So our business is an exchange,
Hmm.
right? The core idea of crypto will work if I have more and more assets to list on my exchange, right? So once people start creating their own tokens, when people understand blockchain as a technology, when they try to implement blockchain in their own fields, right? And once there is some structure in terms of, say, a regulatory support on how to issue a token and how to raise funds using token, or other applications of securitization and tokenization and so on and so forth, these topics start becoming mainstream, adoption of crypto will grow further and further. So in the next couple of years, I am seeing that a lot of emphasis will go on education, not just about how to invest and stuff, but how to actually create your own crypto, how to use that technology for solving innate problems within your industry. And it was blockchain, as we call it, it is Internet 3.0.
Yeah.
It's a better version of the existing Internet, and it will disrupt everything that we are working on today. And that will actually see a huge adoption coming in. And India is where the tech is. And I'm pretty sure as we are leading in fintech, right, we'll also start leading in this space.
It was, I mean, like, a very knowledgeable and an eye opener session for me, and more particularly from the cryptocurrency part, because how you mentioned about the part about women, the part about people from tier one, tier two, and especially from the coin DCX point, how you are ready and willing to experiment with different genres, to reach out to your target audiences, and how you are engaging with the audiences and the audiences engaging back with you. So that was really really very insightful.
From our standpoint, right, we have always maintained this: educate and then acquire.
Right.
And properties and channels which will allow us to do this kind of a system is something that we'll always be interested in.
Great. Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much for joining us. It has been indeed a very, very insightful session. How brands can leverage Big Boss as well as the non-fiction genre, to connect with their audiences throughout the country.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Ram.
Thank you so much, Devesh. Thank you for having me.